All right, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy White Album here. Welcome back to some more Witch on the Holy Night. This is literally right after the last episode. We're just going to keep going on, headstrong, take you on. So here we go. Let's see. Next episode, Howling. Let's keep it going, shall we? We just learned about the entire thing about Swirl the Root and True Magic and the reason why Toko was so angry at her little sister. So here we go, Howling. Got a pretty cool little background. They got eyes in the forest. So let's see. Hopefully get some more action. We only had like a bit of it, like in the last episode at the train station with the puppets. But here we go. Next episode. I have no clue what episode this is. I want to say it's 10. Oh, dude, I was right. Man, I'm so good at this game. All I did was get more water and, stand up for a bit because I'll be honest, my cheek meat was getting a little fucking numb from sitting for so long. But here we go. Enough of that. Let's get into it. Episode 10, Howling. This everyday tale started like no other, or like any other. Birds chirping in the background. Bet you music's playing right now. The attic, where Sojiro sleeps. It was like night time has passed. The morning sun alerted Sojiro that the day of work laid ahead. Specifically, the gardens needed tending to. And an unkept garden made for an unhappy Sojiro. Luckily, today was his day off from all of his part-time jobs. It was the perfect opportunity to get his hands dirty. There was one problem, however. The mansion's grounds were vast. Not only had the courtyard had been left to run wild, but the area around the front door had been neglected too. To tend to these problems thoroughly, he would have to work on them week in, week out. Alright. First, let's level things out. In an ideal world, his task would only take a day, before its enormity. For the moment, Sojiro decided to set foot in the mansion's wilderness and evict the weeds. Wasting none of the early light, he started tackling the ones around the mansion. By his estimation, he could clear the forecourt, courtyard, and backyard, then take a small rest. Forecourt? I never heard of that term before. No, she's like, he's digging a body. What's gone into him? Beats me. I doubt he's out there for fun. It was just before noon in the sunroom. Alice had come down, book in hand, to find Aoko sitting down with the fashion magazine and elegantly sipping tea. Through the window, she could see the crunch figure of Sojiro shuffling by. He's been at it all morning. Hunched over since I first saw fuck. Let me restart that one. He's been at it all morning. Hunched over since I saw him first thing from my bedroom window. I told him to clean the incinerator too. Any objections? What the hell's an incinerator? Like a furnace? What the hell's an incinerator? Who has an incinerator? An oven can be called an incinerator if you leave your food in it long enough. Not really. He always works so hard, even in the cold. That's because Sojiro is a fucking working man, Alice, alright? This man, when he sees something that needs to be done, he gets it done. Fuck yeah. Let's go, Sojiro. If you haven't noticed, I am a big fanboy of Sojiro. Again, my man did nothing wrong. This whole story is about one misstep into a park that he took because he was like, let's just enjoy the air tonight. Alice quietly sat down. Her teacup had been placed on the table for her. She poured herself some tea and proceeded to open her book. The two sat passing the time in silence, having happened to have the same idea, a nice, relaxing cup of tea in the sunroom. But the evening rolls decided there was no need for idle chatter. Alko stared out the window, intermittently turning her gaze to her magazine. Alice was immersed in a book on rune magic or magecraft, occasionally tilting her head up as if to recall something. As if by unspoken agreement, in unison, they pressed their teacups to their lips and glanced outside. To the two girls, Sodro appeared as if he were an animal in a zoo. Neither was interested in lending a hand. Damn. Despite his sluggish movement, he was making good progress. As Alko's attention turned back to the sunroom, her eyes met Alice's. Alice returned her gaze to her book, though moments later, she raised her head again. Damn. Oh, my boy, the Flash. Him. Clearing her throat, she attempted to focus on reading. No, she was mystified. She looked at him and she said, I want him. She didn't say that directly, but her eyes said it. It was no surprise that Alice admired Sodro's diligence. Not even 30 minutes had passed before it had cleared the courtyard of its unsightly weeds. Without stopping once, the mysterious gardener left the courtyard, puffing clouds of white breath. The area he left behind was spotless. Has he done this before? Yeah, he lived in the fucking mountains, Aoko. What? I don't. Okay. 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 Alice muttered after scanning over his work. Okay, so it wasn't Aoko. I apologize, Aoko. I thought that was you, because you're always questioning him for no fucking reason. A stalwart soldier worked confidently and ceaselessly. She was impressed, like she was watching a scene from a great movie. But before long, she grew irked. Why would he waste his energy like that, she thought. Alice looked at the clock.
焼却炉。今から手入れをしたら夕方ね。
If he starts now, it'll be evening before he's done with the incinerator. I'm going to look that up. I don't know what the fuck an incinerator is, dog.
そっちはもう終わってるわ。
I mean, it sounds pretty
上
obvious,
から
but
見てたもの。壊されちゃいけないからあれこれ指示出してね。
actually, he already took care of it. I watched him do it from upstairs. I didn't want him breaking it, so I gave him some pointers.
いやー、窓開けて散々となったから、部屋が冷えること冷えること。
You know, I yelled at him for so long, my window, my room almost froze over. That's weird. They didn't. It was safe to assume Aoko had come to the sunroom to escape her cold room. Between barking orders from a window and cleaning in the cold, it was clear who had the harder job.
しずきくん、何か言ってこなかった？
Did Suzuki have anything to say?
言ってたけど、よく聞こえなかったわ。
Yeah, a lot. But I really couldn't hear him. In other words, his complaints fell on deaf ears. With nothing else to discuss, the two resumed their reading. The ever so tense silence was broken by Sodro entering the house after finishing his cleaning. He stared at the two of them, displeased. Oh.
あったかそうだね、青崎。
Warm enough in here, Alzaki?
外よりは幾分ね。廊下の気温は外とあまり変わらないけど。
Warmer than outside, unless you're walking the halls.
それで、どうして庭の掃除なんて始めたのよ、宗十郎。
What made you to decide to take care of the gardens, anyways? Sojiro's subtle jibe had failed to find its target. He had no chance of winning, so he just hung his shoulders in defeat.
今日は本当に寒い。明日あたり雪でも降ってくるだろうから、外の掃除は早くに済ませたかったのに。
It's so cold out today. Snow's probably going to fall tomorrow, so I thought I should tidy up while I could.
焼却炉は予定外だったぞ。
I didn't think I'd have to work on the incinerator, too. He sounded resentful, but his problem was not with the additional work. If anything, he was glad to do it. What he did not care for was how nobody had even bothered to lend a hand. There it is.
いいじゃない。焼却炉はみんな使うんだから。
So what? We all need to use it.
じゃ、その首相な心がけついでに、2階の廊下に掃除機かけといてね。
Oh, is it gonna go back to the fact that it's like we all have chores to do? Where's that whiteboard when you need it? Hey, seeing as you're in a generous mood, vacuum the upstairs corridor, will you?
それと、裏庭のブナの添え木、壊れかけてたでしょ。工具箱はあんたの部屋に置きっぱなしだから、それを使うこと。
Oh, and that brace for the beech tree out back is on its last legs. Put that toolbox in your room in the attic to good use.
で、全部終わったら私の部屋に来てくれる？いらないものまとめておくから、焼却炉で焼いておいて。
And once you've done with that, come into my room. I have a bunch of things I like you to throw in the incinerator. Hence why she made him clean the incinerator. Cruel, but clever.
それで青崎、君は何をするんだ？
Oh, and what are you going to do while I'm doing all that?
そうね。やることもないし、ギターにでも触ってようかしら。
No plans, really. Maybe I'll play a little guitar. Alka thought hard about how she would spend her afternoon. Yet the thought of cleaning did not cross her mind, as had always been the case. No, it was not quite out of spite she did not think to help clean. It was because the word cleaning was not in her vocabulary. Sojiro knew exactly why the mansion was in the state it was. Still, that did not change the fact that the corridor upstairs was very long. And Aoka was not lying about how cold it was. Inside was not much different than outside.
そうか。あくまで掃除をする気はないんだな、青崎。
So, you really don't have any intention of helping me, do you?
まあ、掃除はしたいからするけど、こう、なんだろ
I mean, I do enjoy cleaning, but I don't know.
う。一緒に住んでる人間をそこまでこき使って、両親は痛まないか？それとも、割と気づいてはいたけど、両親そのものがないのか？
Don't you even feel a little bit guilty using a roommate like this? Or do you just not feel guilt at all? I get what he means, bro. Because, like, it's like when you're washing dishes and then, like, your sibling comes and puts, like, a dirty plate there when you're almost finished and you're like, are you serious? Are you actually serious right now? Is this what we're doing? As usual, he might have gone too far. His remarks hit a bit too close to home. Aoko closed her magazine and turned to face him. Infuriated, she glared, her sharp blue eyes piercing into him. Sojiro knew he had not said anything unjust, but he had always backed down first.
宗十郎、何度も言うようだけど。
Sojiro, let me explain it. One more time.
はい。
Okay. He replied automatically, turning his back in response to Aoko's cold, calm tone.
勘違いはしないで。私たちはあんたを同居させてあげてるんじゃない。
Don't be mistaken. We're not letting you stay here out of kindness. Oh, so that whole whiteboard thing was just non-canon to the story?
これ以上ないって譲歩の末、仕方なく飼ってあげてるだけなんだからね。
We're putting up with you because we have to. He feels the exact same way, trust me. Aoko did not mince her words. Sojiro nodded in defeat.
そうか。飼ってもらってるのか。
So, I'm basically a pet?
そう。番犬にもならないだろうけど。
Exactly. And not a very useful one at that. Aoko responded, already tired of the conversation. While Sojiro had a little room to counter, he still tried.
しかし一方、番犬は間違っても自分の食い縁を入れたり、天津さえ家賃を払ったりしないのも事実であった。
Well, last time I checked, most pets don't have to buy food or pay rent.
なんか言った？
Did you say something?
いや、負け犬の遠吠えを少しばかり。
Nothing. I'm just a dumb mutt barking up the wrong tree. He raised his hand dismissively, knowing he could not win. To Aoko's ears, his attempt at self-deprecation sounded fictitious.
宗十郎、あんた、本当にわかってる？
Do you understand the position you're in, right?
そうだな。君たちがどうあっても掃除をする気がないぐらいは、なんとか。
Yep. One where I do all the work. Aoko grinned at her pet's obedience. As long as he knew his place, that was all that mattered to her. She seemed to be extremely satisfied with his
う
response.
ーん、余裕あるんだ、しずきくんってば。
Huh. You don't have a care in the world, do you? Her playful smile darkened, as did Sojiro's expression.
青崎、なんだか、息ができないんだけど。
Ozaki. I can't breathe.
このまま放っておくと、そんなことも言ってられなくなるんだけど、試してみる？
You know, if I keep this up, you'll never be able to complain again. Shall we give it a try? He shook his head, his expression growing more and more grim.
懸命ね。私も窒息したいなんて見たくないもの。
Smart choice. I don't want to see you suffocate, if I can help it. The grating sound subsided. Sojiro gingerly touched his throat. The collar that had suddenly tied around his neck returned to its normal size.
気管が塞がれた時の苦しさを知らないんだろう、青崎は。本当に抵抗できなくなるんだぞ、あれは。
Do you have any idea how painful it is to suffocate? It's excruciating.
だからそのための首輪だって言ったでしょ？
I told you that's what the collar I told you that's what your collar was for.
今まで実践したことなかったし、あんたは相変わらず危機感ないし、ここらで一度しつけておいたの。
You're always so naive, so I took the opportunity to give it a test run. Now you know your place. Oof.
それより掃除、急がないと日が暮れるんじゃないの？
Anyway, chores. You're wasting time. I will say, if you hate this character, this type of character stereotype, you are not gonna like Aoko, bro.
はあ、わかったよ。
Okay.
結局、今日はこうなる星の運びだったんだ。
So that's what the sun was trying to tell me this morning. Sojiro left the sunroom, his shoulders slumped and his tail between his legs. Aoko watched him leave before turning to her magazine as if nothing happened. Alice paid no attention. None of that had anything to do with her. With Sojiro gone, the room once felt silent again. As the clock ticked on, Alice suddenly stopped flipping through her book.
ねえ、どうして彼を酷使するの？
It would have been nice if you popped your mouth a little bit earlier there, Alice. Any reason why you push him so hard? She asked as though talking to herself. Aoko replied without so much as looking up.
別に。最後には記憶を消させてもらうんだから、楽しかったら困るじゃない。
Nope. We're just gonna erase his memories anyways. Why get his hopes up? Obscure as ever, but sincere in her own way.
そう。言われてみればそうだったわね。
Well, when you put it like that, I suppose you're right. Alice could not believe she had forgotten about the situation. Silently, she looked up from her book and gazed outside once again. The courtyard through the window reminded her where she lived a decade ago. Nothing could compare to the beauty of those gardens. But if that was the case, why did the scenery make her feel nostalgic. All Sojiro had done was taking care of the garden with the goodness of his own heart. It was only half a day, yet he achieved so much. It was Christmas Eve. Oh, fucking hell, it's Christmas? Damn. Fucking hell. Wait, what? Wait, never mind then. God damn. This only. Wait, hold on. You're telling me this story so far is only taken in 1 month? Damn. Okay. It was Christmas Eve, and the snow started to fall. Ooh, look at Misaki all prettied up. Its timing was too good, as though it had waited for that day specifically. The cold, bustling main street had seemed bright and vibrant under the layer of frosty white. Reindeer statues illuminated the surroundings. Children danced merrily to jingle bells. People walked along the brick road, smiling broadly. These festivities, however, had not reached the mansion on the hill. Silence enveloped the isolated building. The shadow of the snow-covered woodland grew longer, beckoning in the darkness. People returned to the warmth of their homes, knowing a bitter night lay ahead. Something had been amiss in the mansion all day. Perhaps it was the calm before the storm. 2 days had passed since Toko Ozaki had revealed herself. Aoko and Alice spent more and more time locked in their rooms. Mealtimes had grown noticeably quieter. With their roles decided, they were too busy with their own jobs to worry about each other. On this day, the two had been relaxed in the drawing room since morning. The mood was calm. Well, mostly at least. Sojiro was fretting that tonight would be the same.
雪が明日ならよかったのに。
The snow just couldn't wait till tomorrow, could it? He aimed his words towards the girls on the sofa, despite knowing they would be ignored. Whether the snow fell today, tomorrow, or not at all, it did not affect them. The snow just meant a white Christmas. Aoko remained silent. She wasn't ignoring him per se, she just had other things on her mind. Sojiro knew this, but still cast a lonely glance around the sunroom. The courtyard he had cleaned only a few days ago was hidden by the layer of white. The falling snow would stop every so often, but then resume again as if teasing Sojiro. By the next morning, the courtyard would be a winter wonderland. Aoko and Alice sipped tea in an effort to fight the cold. In fact, that's what they were doing. That was all they were doing.
そういえば、瞳子さんの髪の色は青崎より濃かったね。あんな綺麗な赤毛は初めて見た。短くしてるのはもったいなかったな。
You know, Toko's hair was darker than yours, Ozaki. I've never seen such beautiful red hair. Shame it was too short. Or so short. Sojiro rambled on, not expecting a response. However,
短かったって姉貴の髪が？
her hair was cut short? Ako's expression went from nonchalant to its usual sharpness.
それどういうこと？短くしてるって髪の毛のことよね。
What do you mean short? You were talking about her hair, right? He's like, yeah, what else? What the fuck I'd be talking about?
ああ、アリスより短かったけど、それがどうしたんだ？
Yeah, even shorter than Alice's. Is that a big deal?
別に、あの人前は私より長かったってだけ。
No, she just used to have longer hair than mine.
そう。あの髪を切ったのね、姉貴は。
So she really cut it all off. Aoko spoke in a grave tone. Showing slight interest, Alice turned to Sojiro.
普通じゃないな。髪を切ったぐらいでどうしたんだ一体。瞳子さんの髪が短いと青崎が困るのか？
What's so bad about getting her hair, what is so bad about her getting a haircut? Does it affect you in any way, Aozaki? I mean, it really shouldn't, Aoko, considering you're like, fuck her.
まあ、その通りだけど。
Well, yeah, it does.
いいわ。どうせ夜まで暇だし、説明ぐらいはしてあげる。
Well, as we have nothing to do until nightfall, I suppose I'll explain. Or he was like, damn, I would love if Sojiro just wants to be like, well, considering I'm going to have my memories erased, there's should be no reason why you should explain it, right?
あんたがそんなこと言わなければ、未知数のまま瞳子と戦う羽目になっただろうし。
You're lucky. If you hadn't said anything, we'd have been oblivious when fighting her. Aoko not only glanced at Alice, her expression suggesting she was treating her. She was also likely seeking approval. Alice remained stoic as ever, her expression showing neither approval nor disapproval.
簡単に言うと、魔術師にとっては髪の毛も武器ってことよ。
How can I put this? Mages use their hair as a weapon.
昔から人間の髪や目は魔術の材料になりやすいの。女の場合はことさらにね。
For the longest time, hair and eyes have been vital to magecraft, especially in my sister's case. I was like Bayonetta. You know how like Bayonetta uses her hair to summon demons? It's like that. That's cool. Her contract with Madame Butterfly.
瞳の色は多いほどいいし、髪も長いほど質がいい。
The more colorful the eyes, the better. The longer the hair, the higher the quality.
髪の毛は自身と同一視しやすいし、長い年月をかけて育てられる原始的で強力な原料と思ってくれていいわ。
Hair has the same qualities as the body, and when grown over many years, it becomes a strong base component. I mean, I have curly hair, but I'm pretty sure if you strained it, that bitch would be pretty long.
私が髪を伸ばしてるのはまあそういうこと。手入れが大変なんだけど、そこは女だから半分趣味みたいなもんよね。
That's why I'm growing mine out. Looking after it is a pain sometimes, but I like styling it. Sotro glanced furtively, there you go, at Alice, wondering if the same held true for her. Maybe Alice had it cut because it was a hassle to maintain. It sounded stupid, but then again, this was Alice. Sotro nodded to himself.
んじゃあ青崎としてはいいことじゃないか。
So that's good for you then, right, Ozaki?
瞳子さんの髪短いんだから。
I mean that Toko's got short hair.
それがここに来る前に使い切ったものならいいんだけど。
If she used all her hair before coming here, then yes.
伸ばした髪にはいろいろと使い道があるのよ。
Long hair can be used in tons of ways.
私は瞬間的な術の強化にしか使えないけど、姉貴だったら高級的な術の補佐に使うはず。
I can only use it to temporarily reinforce magecraft, but my sister can use it to complement longer-lasting spells.
年月と想念を蓄えた髪は魔術師の分身とも言える。
With all those thoughts and memories in that hair, it's like having a mage clone.
そういったものをね、死んじゃった犬だの猫だのを反言させるときに与えると、術者に服従する使い魔が出来上がるの。
You can even use it on a dead dog or cat, reviving them and making them the mage's familiar.
生前魔力のなかった使い魔。例えば猫とか犬ね。これらは術者の髪を取り込んで独自の魔術回路を得る。
Familiars with no previous magical energy, like said dog or cat, can acquire magic circuits. All thanks to hair. Is that why cats throw up hairballs? I mean, that makes sense considering that, like, I know in modern, times or like modern media, whenever you see a witch, she always has like a black cat with her.
申請することで全く違う生き物。猫の魔術師になるってこと。例えば人語を介したり、人間に化けてみたりって。
Well, obviously, it's because black cats are meant to be a sign of bad luck. I mean, I love black cats. I don't have one, but I would love to have one. The reanimated creature becomes something entirely different. They can even speak and take human form.
行動原理も変わってしまって、大抵は術者に似通った性格になるわ。そうよね、アリス。
Their behavior changes too, to something resembling a regular mage. Right, Alice? Her last words came with a mocking smile. Alice silently ignored it.
じゃあ、トウコさんにはアリスのみたいな使い魔がいると。
So Toko has familiars like Alice?
そう見るのが妥当でしょうね。
I think that's a safe bet.
姉貴は20年以上伸ばし続けた髪と引き換えに、強力な使い魔を用意したってことよ。
She must have been growing her hair for over 20 years. She could have an army of powerful familiars. That fight at the amusement park. Just the thought of Alice Kawunja releasing flat snark sent a shiver down Sojiro's spine. The oil of the moon had been a unique familiar out of this world.
ほら、そこ心配しない。三崎町をぶっ壊す規模の使い魔なんてありっこないから。
Hey, don't worry about it. She couldn't create a familiar that could destroy Masaki or anything. I'm gonna put a cap on that one.
確かに、長く歴史のある紙を使用するほど、強力な使い魔が出来上がる。
Still, a familiar created with hair that long would be incredibly powerful.
けど、紙を使った魔術師は、それまで溜め込んできた山中のうちの一つを、初めからやり直さないといけない。
Mages that use their hair, though, they need to reset one of the three pillars from the beginning.
切った紙はまた伸ばさないといけないでしょ。使い魔を作るのは簡単だけど、そう多く従えないのはそういうことなの。
They have to grow their hair again. Making familiars is easy, but not leading them. As Aoko spoke, her mood visibly improved, as though she made a breakthrough.
犬とか猫か。
Dogs and cats. Tilting his head to the side. He cannot imagine a world where cats and dogs were so powerful.
変ね。
It's strange.
トウコさんは人魚師よ。使い魔を作って自分のレベルを下げるのはどうなのかしら。
Toko's a puppet master. I wonder why she would lower herself to make familiars.
協力者がいないだけでしょう。青崎のお家騒動に人の手を借りたくないから、自分だけで全部やるつもりなのよ。
She probably has nobody to help her, and she wouldn't ask for assistance with a personal matter concerning the family.
もしかして、遊園地の人形って、姉貴の髪で作られたんじゃないだろうな。
Actually, maybe the puppet at the amusement park wasn't made from her hair.
確かに、話に聞いた限りだと特注品ね。
Now that you mention it, you did say that it seemed highly customized.
呪いによる永久期間、両手のギミック、フィンの一撃、執念深さ。トウコさんでもゼロから作るのは難しいでしょうけど。
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Alice. It's curse-based perpetual motion, coiled arms, fin shot, the depths of his obsession. It's unlikely Toko created the puppet from scratch.
けど何よアリス。
Meaning?
あの人は人形に自己を投影するような人じゃないわ。
Toko is not the type to put herself into her creations.
完璧な偽物なら許すけど、偽物に過ぎない偽物は容赦なく壊してきた。
She might consider doing it for a perfect replica, but the ones we destroyed weren't even faint copies of her.
青子から見て、その特注人形はトウコさんと同じ力量を持っていた。
Aoko, did that puppet have the same power as Toko?
まさか、遠く及ばないわよ、あんなの。
No way. Not even close.
なら、トウコさんの髪とあの人形は別件よ。
Then it would not have been made using her hair.
あの人が自分の魔力を分け与えたほどの使い魔が、あと一体はいると見るべきね。
Meaning, we have to keep our eyes open for a familiar fused with her magical energy.
専門家としての意見。
So in your expert opinion,
つまり、その使い魔は姉貴より強い。
you think that her familiar could be stronger than my sister herself?
そうでないと意味がないわ。
If it's not, then what's the point of creating one?
人手が足りないというのもあるでしょうけど。だって私たちは二人、彼女は一人だもの。
She needs help. It's the two of us versus one of her.
同時制圧も想定済みってわけ。
So she's going to attack with the familiar at the same time?
なるほどね。 その場合、どっちが強い方を引き当てても恨みっこなしよ、アリス。
That makes sense. It would at least be a fair fight.
ま、こと使いまで、あんたが遅れを取るとは思えないけど。
Well, fairer. When it comes to familiars, I think you have the upper hand. Alice has never been defeated by a familiar. She cited Aoko's overconfidence.
青子。たとえ20年間の蓄えを付与したとしても、その器が小動物では限度があるわ。
Aoko, even if she utilizes her 20-year stockpile, she can only use small vessels or small animals as vessels.
あの瞳子さんが切り札になる使い魔を用意したのなら、それは。
If Toko was to prepare familiar as her trump card,
よしてよ。
don't you say it.
いくらなんでも、姉貴はそこまで悪趣味じゃないわ。
No sister of mine would stoop that low. Aoko and Alice stared at each other. The conversation had returned to the drawing room, but the subject matter was not for the faint of heart.
そうね。けれど、人間を追い詰めるのに最も効果的な相手は、やっぱり人間なのよ。
I suppose. Still, nothing hugs down a human better than a human. Also, she's on some like sorcery shit, bro, where she's using humans to create puppets. That's wild.
瞳子さんが死者を亡者にしていなくても、それと同格の相手がいるぐらいは覚悟しておいて。
Toko may not have raised the dead, but she probably has something just as powerful up her sleeve.
はいはい、わかったわよ。確かに天才ってやつは空気読めないから。どんな生き物の死体を用意してきても驚かないわ。
Yeah, okay. I admit geniuses can get stuck in their own world sometimes. Whatever corpse she throws at me, I'll be ready. Aoko nodded reluctantly at Alice's directness. Needless to say, Sojiro was completely lost.
よくわからないけど。
I don't quite follow.
なんで青崎たちは死んでるってことに固執するんだ？生きてるものじゃダメなのか？
Why? Wire? Why do they spell like that? Is that how you correctly spell that? Wire? Why are you both convinced the familiar is dead?
それは使い魔じゃなくて協力者でしょ。使い魔は基本、術者なくしては生きられないものにしないと。
Because living partners aren't familiars. They're co-conspirators. Familiars can't live with a mage to sustain them.
それでいて優れた意志を持ち、術者の資格や盲点を補える知性もある。それが一流の使い魔の条件よ。
Still, they're the perfect foil. Strong-willed and smart enough to compensate for their mage's shortcomings. Everything you want from a great familiar.
正直な話、それだけ都合のいいやつは死から作り直すしかないってわけ。
Let's be real. Who wouldn't want to bring that kind of partner back to life? Completely obedient and capable of compensating for their mage's weaknesses, Sojiro felt that a familiar was a little different than himself.
さて、
Now then,
姉貴は昔からルーン使いだったから、戦術は予測できる。
my sister has always been a rune user, so we can somewhat predict her tactics.
問題の切り札も、どうやら使い魔らしい。
Her trump card, which we need to be worried about, is probably a familiar.
自動人形もさすがにこの前で使い切っただろうし。
And it's likely she used up all of her automata already. Alko spoke directly to Alice, looking for confirmation. Alice nodded in agreement.
じゃあ予定通り、今日で終わりにしよう。
So, we stick to the plan. Let's call it a night.
この1ヶ月、好き放題やられた借り、ぎったんぎったんにして、あのバカ姉貴に返してやる。
I'm gonna make her pay for all the crap she's put us through for the last month. Sojo's like, well, she didn't put me through. I mean, she wanted me. I don't know about you. Alko clenched her teeth and balled her fist. It all seemed like nothing more than sibling rivalry. In fact, that's probably all it was. Looking at Awoko, Sojo let out a sigh of relief. With what happened with Toko, and how they reacted to her visit, the atmosphere had been deathly tense. For now, though, Alko seemed much calmer. He took comfort in the thought that perhaps his sister would just bury the hatchet. Probably not. Even if Aoko and Toko were not sisters, he would not want to see what would happen if they fought. I mean, I would like to be out of the vicinity if that happens. The hands of the clock turned gently. Approaching Judgment Night, a merciless silence would soon come to mock Sojiro's complacency. As night appeared, two things vanished. The first was the whimsical snowfall. The second was the lights of the mansion on the top of the hill. Aoko and Alice were nowhere to be seen inside. Only Sojiro remained. It was the night of Christmas Eve. Though Alice and Aoko had yet to find Toko. That's so fucking weird to say back to back. Aoko and Toko. It's like, damn. They knew everything would be concluded over the course of this day and the next. Christmas comes but once a year. It was a singular time for endings and new beginnings. In Japan, the modern holiday dated back only about 100 years and celebrated Christ's birthday only in name with all its latter-day trappings. It was neither a pure homage or corruption of the festival that inspired it. Cool. Wait, so they've always celebrated Christmas? Interesting. Regardless, there was a significant increase in the land's mana during festivals. Such charged distortions were a boon to mage's craft, be it creative or destructive. Toko Ozaki sought to destroy the local sigils, which gathered and properly circled the magical energy of the land and its people. Sojiro was able to gather that much from Aoko and Alice's conversation. Toko had already claimed 3 sigils. Only 2 remained. Any further loss would signal Aoko and Alice's defeat. In order to protect the remaining ones, they had to split up. Aoko lacked power, so she would need to borrow a ploy from Alice and head to the Tokawa sigil, which boasted the greatest local energy supply. Ironic, huh? That you have Toko, then you have Tokawa. Both start with To. Alice would go fully equipped to sigil in Yoshirogi, or Yashirogi. Free from the constraints of civilized society, magecraft is most powerful at midnight. The young witch and the apprentice mage wished each other luck before leaving the mansion. It was almost 10 at night. After the girls set out, the first 2 hours passed quickly. When Aoko was ready to head off, Sojiro walked with her to the foyer. Neither had spoken a word to each other. She had departed without showing any sign of fear. It was difficult to tell whether she did not want to get him involved, or he's already involved. I don't know what the fuck you want me to say, or whether she did not want to see, or whether she did not see him a worthy ally in combat. I don't know, if it wasn't for him, your ass would have been toast against Alice, but you know. The thought stuck with him. He let out a long sigh, not out of dejection or frustration. It was a mechanical, emotionless breath. He sat on a near-frozen floor, staring vacantly up at the skylight. Moonlight peeked through the clouds. He imagined the moonlight bouncing off the town's powdery blanket and illuminating the night. But he would not find himself downtown. Watching from the sidelines was his role to begin with. His roommates and he lived worlds apart. He could not keep up with them, and if he did not show the same kind of will, he would remain on the sidelines. However,
そうか。この手が必要な時はもうないのか。
I get it. I'm not needed anymore. Sojiro looked up at the moon. Somewhere, deep inside, he felt a trickle of sadness. I feel for you, Sojiro. I truly do, buddy. All this shit that you've been going through, man, you don't deserve it, bro. Veiled in white and cloaked in darkness, the park seemed like a forgotten memory. Not a soul was in sight. The night felt far more enigmatic than usual, yet the air was clean enough to drink. The air was clean enough to drink. That is huh. Okay. Though only a sliver of moonlight peered through the clouds, it lit up the entire world. In those moments, a young girl's footsteps echoed, trampling the still white silence under a midnight sun. The pale moon illuminated in the inky blue sky. Only a few streetlights in an incongruous phone booth betrayed signs of civilization. A girl appeared, dressed in all black. Against the snowy landscape, the figure of Alice Kuonji was unmistakable. Pure black, deeper than even the night, were her overcoat, gloves, and hat, even her hair and eyes. Nothing stirred for a time, not Alice, nor the white scenery. The world was still painting a snowy field, or painting of a snowy field. Only time moved, gradually darkening the lights in the park, and eventually the nearby homes as well. Yashirogi was a more modern and developed town than Masaki. Though the park was located in the center of town, it had become a blind spot. It had been overlooked by developers and carried no commercial value. A few houses encircled the park, the streetlights turned off at midnight. It was a white night. People, even machines, were fast asleep.
私が先なのね。
It looks like I got here early. Alice whispered, watching the streetlights slowly fade. She thought she heard a dog howling in the distance. I mean, I heard it in my ears, so. Perhaps it was howling at the moon. The howl reached deeper into the night than expected. A wolf, maybe? The phone rang. It was perhaps the first time it had rung since Sojiro moved into the mansion. Hesitantly, he picked up the receiver and brought it to his ear. He heard nothing. He felt like he had to say something, but could not think of what. Maybe something like, "Hello, Kuonji residence?" Or maybe, "You've reached the Alzaki residence." While he was in deep thought, a voice as light as air came through the receiver.
しずきくん。
Suzuki? Sojiro could barely hear the voice, but it was definitely Alice's.
そうだけど、アリス
Yes. Is that you, Alice? No response. The silence was as profound as the night, but for the sound of static from the receiver. After a long pause, Alice finally spoke.
青子はいる。
Is Aoko there?
いや、まだ帰ってないけど、
No, she hasn't come back just yet.
そう。
I see. With a click, the call ended. Sojiro wondered if she had something to say, but could not respond in time. Well, that was weird. Slowly they advanced, carving through the fresh snow. There were so many. Where had they all come from? Dozens of feral dogs snarled at Alice, their eyes trained on her. The snow clung to the beast's mangy fur. Their clenched fangs and bloodshot eyes hid a barely reined hunger that might burst forth like lightning at any moment. They yearned to taste her warm flesh and satiate their empty bellies. To them, the girl in black stood like a lighthouse in a stormy sea. She watched them, disinterested. It appeared that the Yashirogi sigil was the key target tonight, not Tokawa where Aoko had gone. Alice had always been unflappable, and the child's play before her was hardly about to change that. Her main enemy was not the dogs surrounding her, but the lone mage behind them, Toko Alzaki.
ひどい趣味。ここ数年で品が落ちたの？
What hideous taste? Is this what you've fallen into after all these after these last several years?
まあ、それならそれで嬉しいけど。これが地金なら、青崎との付き合いもいよいよ白紙に戻せるわ。
Not that I'm complaining. If this is who you really are, then Aozaki and I have nothing to worry about. Toko laughed at the acerbic taunt.
いやいや、これは不可抗力でね。
My, such a movable spirit.
安心しろ、アリス。間違っても私の趣味じゃない。
Rest assured, Alice. I'm not doing this for fun. Crunching through the fallen snow, Toko slowly came into view. She wore a moss green coat that that contrasted sharply with Alice's garb. A silk scarf warmed her neck. She stood tall, her hair short, striking a more valiant posture than any young man. After all, the two standing here needed to be less like a shining moon, and more like the darkness surrounding it. The barking abated. Like servants in a royal court, they averted their eyes from their ruler, lest their eyes and their hearts be plucked out.
久しぶりだね、アリス。
It's been too long, Alice.
瞳子さんも、お元気そうで。
It has. You look well, Toko. They stood about 12 feet apart. No love had been lost between them. Just two enemies. One who was to be victorious, and one who was to fall.
さて、どうしようか、アリス。
So, shall we do this, Alice?
積もる話もある。君の近況にも興味がある。そもそも今回の件について、いろいろと説明したくてたまらない。
We have so much to catch up on. How have you been? There's so much I've been dying to tell you.
5分ほど時間を割いても構わないか？
You can spare 5 minutes to chat, can't you?
お断りよ。あなたと5分も話をしていたら、その隙に内臓まで売却されそう。
I'm afraid not. If I give you even the slightest quarter, you will steal it all. The following events unfolded quickly. Boldly and without a second thought, Alice pulled out a cat spell from the seam of her mantle and dropped it. Diddle diddle. Diddle, I remember this one. I think. I don't know. Did she use that in the amusement park fight? I don't remember. I think she did. The beginning of Alice Kawonji's magecraft, the start to a night of fairy tales. Alko favored a quick draw approach, like something from a western. However, Alice preferred sleight of hand. She used her target's blind spots against them, ending the game before they knew it had begun. The bell fell, like a coin into a fountain. Or a cat into the snow. Then, as it was about to strike the ground, it shattered, disappearing without a trace.
ルーン。
Runes.
ああ、1日かけて公園中に刻ませてもらった。
Correct. I spent the day carving characters into the park.
この公園の道はレンガだからね。手間こそかかったが、簡単な仕事だった。
The brick path meant it was easy work, if only a little time consuming.
周りの森まで見て、ざっと400平米のキャンバスだ。
Look at the woods around here. Roughly a 1,200 square foot blank canvas.
面白いだろ？
Impressive, isn't it?
今私たちは30万字以上のルーンの上にいる。
Right now, you and I are right on top of 300,000 characters worth of runes. Swallowing hard, Alice took a step back. Toko had carved runes all over the ground. Even in the area Diddle reacted to alone, there was a depressing amount of them. She had truly carved them into the whole park? Oh, let me read. Had she truly carved them into the whole park? There we go. Alice did not react with surprise. She simply narrowed her eyes. I know she looked pretty surprised the first time there. She could see how it would have taken a whole day. It was no wonder Diddle Diddle, Banquet of the Night, was destroyed by the skin of Sun. Still, something bothered Alice.
一体どうやって隠していたの？
How in the world did you hide them all? There were just so many. What kind of magecraft could do that?
ああ、ちょっと特別性。
Oh, these are special.
このルーンね、普段は確定していないんだ。こうしている今も変形している。パッと見はただの傷跡。それが強い魔力に触れると元の形に立ち戻る。形状記憶ルーンとでも言おうかな。
These runes shift location. They're doing it even now. They look like small or simple scratches, but they return to their original form when they touch strong magical energy. You can call them memory runes.
そんなわけで、いかなる夜の深さをもってしても、この太陽は没しない。
No
こ
matter
の
how
通り、雪が降ってくれたおかげで、視覚的なごまかしも万全だったしね。
I'm sorry, my queen. I did not mean to speak out of tone there. No matter how deep the night, these little suns won't set, and the snow hid them beautifully. She spoke modestly, but Alice could not imagine the amount of persistence, technique, and skill it must have taken. It only took a day. Even 10 mages would have trouble producing so many sophisticated runes in that time. Moreover, these runes were made using unknown techniques the Association had not approved. Also, it's like dark
負け
magic.
惜しみだけど、
It pains me to admit it, Toko.
私みたいな小娘一人に大人げないわね、トウコさん。
That's a lot of power to use on one poor little girl.
バカを言うな。君を小娘だなんて一度も思ったことはないよ。
Oh, please. I never thought that about you.
まあ、私好みの体だと、眠めつけることはあったがね。
Though, there were times when I admired that body of yours. To have one like that. I don't know. That one's out of pocket there, Toko. I don't know if I could support that one. Holy fuck. She does have the shotting gun. What the fuck? Holy shit. Crazy. It all happened in a blink of an eye. Alice cut off Toko's snide remark with a deadly stare. The left eye of the darkly clad girl changed into a color to an ominous ruby. The speed of the incantation was phenomenal. Alice's mystic eye of enthralling snared Toko. Enthralling. Oh, okay. Well, more like mystic eye. It only has the one so far. She had been the one to quite literally be captivated by taking the girl's stare. Toko tried to raise her arm, but could not even move a finger. Alice's mystic eyes commanded absolute control, with no room for resistance. Only a person's internal organs were allowed the freedom to move. Since her organs still functioned, they were more precise to say that her eyes forbade the target from acting. Aoko had played her hand with exquisite timing. It wasn't the speed of her eyes that had given her an edge. The deftness with which she wove her spells to exploit the briefest vulnerability is what made Alice a different caliber to other mages like Aoko. This witch, who lived hidden in the modern era, was more seasoned with magical battles than Toko Aozaki.
だが残念。ディドルが響かないのでは、魔眼のアクロスティック化はできないようだな。
Such a shame. Without Diddle Diddle, your eyes can't be made acrostic. I don't know if that word
惜し
means.
いね。あの月目のプロイキッシャーなら、これで私の方はお手上げだったろうが。
You were close. With your moon ploy kickshaw, I might have been begging for mercy. The formation holding Toko began to distort. In the blink of an eye, the mage had bested Alice's mystic eyes. Alice's black outfit fluttered in the wind. She turned so she would not. She turned so she was not facing Toko head on. The mage had recovered through her own mystic eyes. At the root of Toko's mystic eyes was a spell of mesmerize, most effective when facing their prey. Such eyes could mind jack a target's awareness. It was difficult to resist head on. However, its effect was greatly diminished if the target was not facing the eyes directly, even if it was within range. Moreover, the girl was the last witch of her lineage who commanded a great number of fairy tales. Against mystic eyes that projected their effects, simply turning one's body was enough to repel half of the magical energy. Like Alice's eyes, Toko could also disable actions. Alice had escaped by the skin of her teeth. The damage she suffered was the weight of a twig to a forest. She just had let the energy pass through. In an instant, a startling chill ran through Alice's body. This was a problem. The touch of death ran up her spine. She glared at the mage before her, as blue rubber balls flowed out from beneath her overcoat. The stare-off grew more intense. Alice glared harder, resisting Toko's mystic eyes with her own. Losing was not an option. In terms of raw magical energy, Alice Kuwonji's mystic eyes were more powerful and advanced than Toko's. They don't look as cool though. Just a red eye. Surely nobody could beat her. And yet, her unfiltered stock of magical energy, stifled by old-fashioned values, was no match for Toko's madness. Deeper within her eyes, somehow, the eyes revealed a sealed power. Inside the crystalline lens of the mage's left iris was a bottomless pit, a Klein cube. I don't know what that is. Alice winced in pain. The bodies grew in number. So many mystic eyes, thousands perhaps, and all fixed on Alice. Pressure. So much pressure. Endless. And Alice knew it. She saw... Incredulously, she saw eyes growing within eyes. Toko had placed opposing mirrors inside her eyes, resulting in an infinite glare. Wait, what the fuck? She put mirrors in her eyes? Is that... what? Okay. It was an act of a madwoman, creating mystic eyes within mystic eyes. She could even control the resulting chaos caused by all the copies. Her insanity knew no bounds. No mage in the right mind would mass-produce so many mystics, the last escape of humankind, so indiscriminately.
やれやれ。これもお気に召さないか。私なりにマインスターの真似事をしてみたつもりなんだが。
Oh dear. Am I making you uncomfortable? Tell me. Am I doing a good job of intimidating a mindster?
うまくできているだろう
Aren't you impressed?
君の悪路のように希少な神秘で現実をねじ曲げるのではなく、量産した神秘で現実をねじ伏せる。
Instead of bending reality using a rare mystic like you would, I mass-produce a mystic to bend reality to my will.
もの自体はただの魔眼。だがその段数には果てがない。
On the surface, they're regular mystic eyes. Only their volume is infinite.
相手がどれほどの魔力抵抗を持っていようと、それ以上の魔力で拘束するだけのものだ。
No matter how much magical energy an opponent uses to resist them, they will simply multiply the energy needed to bind them. She wielded power without limit to disable an opponent. Once one was caught in them, one was chained to the concept of infinity. Oh my gosh, she hit her. Bro, she hit her with Johnny's fucking Tusk Act 4, bro. She's got the golden ratio in her eyeballs. Projection type eyes had a fatal flaw. Their firepower and formulae were insignificant compared to the great artillery of incanted spells, but Toko had torn down that conventional wisdom with brute strength. If the gun was a pea shooter, she simply needed to bring more guns. A 9mm bullet would never destroy a fortress, unless one threw a fortress mass of bullets at it. The principle was brutishly simple, but in the world of magecraft where concepts decided supremacy, Toko had created the perfect weapon. The target would be bound until she closed her eyes. In a theory at least, the effects were infinite. No amount of magical energy could overcome it, so it was utterly futile to resist using magical energy. Of course, one way to counter would be to stay out of Oko's line of sight to begin with. The standard tactic against Mystic Eyes was to defeat their user before they were aware of you. There was, however, another way. It was simpler than one might think. Let me guess, it's just poking their eyeballs out?
ともあれ、これで罪だ。何か言い残すことは？
I'm afraid this is checkmate. Any last words? Alice could no longer see her enemy. Toko's infinite eyes had her bound. All she could make out was a sliver of moonlight. A blue streak tracing its way toward her.
結構、悔いのない人生で羨ましい。
Fine. I wish I could say I had no regrets like you. She drew a rune in the air, unleashing a shockwave to tear flesh asunder. The gusts became blades of air that shredded Alice's overcoat and minced. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it there. Leave you guys on a little bit of cliffhanger there. Let's see what happens next time. Let's see. Alice somehow managed to save herself. I see blue feathers, so I think a little Robin came in and helped her. Let's save real quick. But there we go, man. Holy shit. Finally getting some action, man. It's been a while. I think the last time we had some like big action was the actual amusement park fight, but it's nice to see we're finally getting somewhere. Well, action side-wise. I think we got pretty much everything story-wise. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. And if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. It is your boy White Album. I will see you guys next time.